Here I'm going to try to give a brief description on the easiest way to reinstall a timer assembly into a switch box. Easiest if the unit is removed from the wall or you have a second person to help. The nozzle end of the hand dryer you need to bring towards yourself, and we go to install the timer mounted on the plate. I twist these wires so the plate can drop into the timer switch or timer box. Taping the ends of the wires make it easier to feed through the conduit. We like to use a little silicone around the edge here to keep water, dirt, debris out of the timer unit. So we feed the wires through. And then minding the orange wires, just give them a little poke with your fingers and this whole unit should drop right in. Sometimes it helps to pull the wires a little bit through the conduit end. And once that unit is dropped in, we'll go ahead and screw it together. I'm omitting washers just for speed right now. We usually use lock washers. So now that the plate is installed, we want to move the nozzle away from us. I like to straighten where the wires enter the conduit so there's not stress on the joint. We usually fill this hole with clear silicone also. Well, I take the hex fitting and spring. It goes in the bracket in this direction with the tab facing down to your right, and I pinch the spring, I put it in there. Put a push rod in, push button, make sure that it's lined up. This gets dropped into this slot with the tab in front of the micro switch bracket or arm. I run the push button through the nozzle and then align it through the hex fitting. Sometimes it takes a little bit of a wiggle. This is one thing that can be a little difficult. I pinch the spring, we put it over the push rod, and while you're pushing the push rod from one end, keep the spring under tension until the push rod is through the back of the bracket. We leave about 1/8 of an inch exposure of that push rod. Then I tighten the set screws on the hex fitting. And we give the push button a test. Where the bracket meets the arm of the micro switch, we like to leave about 1/16 of an inch gap, maybe 1/8 of an inch gap, and that's accomplished by just giving it a little twist with needle nose so you can look down and see that there's a gap. Once you establish that there's a little gap there, you'll push the button and hear a click. And then release the button, you should hear a click again as the roller falls into the detent of the cam. Then we apply silicone around the edge and the cover plate back on.